One man thought he could disrespect centuries of tradition with a single push. But he learned the hard way that the Queen's Guard is never to be underestimated. It was an ordinary morning outside Buckingham Palace. The gates shimmered under the summer sun, crowds of tourists pressed against the black iron railings, and the rhythmic stomp of boots echoed across the courtyard. Every eye was fixed on the iconic red-coated Queen's Guard, standing like statues, motionless, unshaken, symbols of tradition and discipline. Among the hundreds gathered that day, one man stood out not because of his clothing, but because of the restless energy radiating off him. He was tall, impatient, weaving through the crowd, muttering under his breath about wanting a real reaction. He wasn't there to admire the history or the grandeur. He was there for a spectacle. The air was heavy with anticipation. Cameras were raised, children sat on parents' shoulders, and the guards maintained their silent posts, staring straight ahead, unbothered by the chatter and flashes. But then it happened. With a sudden burst of arrogance, the man stepped forward, breaking the invisible line between crowd and soldier. Gasps shot through the air as he closed the distance, and without hesitation pushed his palm hard against the chest of a Queen's Guard. Time seemed to freeze. The crimson tunic jolted back slightly, boots digging into the stone beneath. For a moment, the unthinkable had been done. The symbol of unwavering discipline had been touched, disrespected, broken. The crowd collectively inhaled, unsure of what would follow. The guard, tall and immovable, lowered his chin. His eyes locked forward, jaw tight beneath the bearskin cap. Every tourist nearby expected fury, perhaps a violent retaliation. But instead, there was silence. Silence so deep, it pressed against every heart in the courtyard. The man smirked, clearly enjoying his victory. He turned to the crowd as if to say, "See? They can't do anything." Some in the audience even chuckled nervously, unsure if they were witnessing bravery or sheer stupidity. And then, the guard moved. With a swift stomp that thundered across the stones, he repositioned his feet, squared his shoulders, and in a voice so sharp and commanding it rattled windows, he bellowed, "Make way for the King's Guard." The words cut through the air like a blade. Children clutched their parents, tourists stumbled back, and the man who had dared to push him suddenly froze in place. The guard's rifle, gleaming in the sun, shifted with precision, not raised in violence, but angled just enough to remind everyone what centuries of tradition and authority meant. The arrogant man's face drained of color. His smirk vanished. What had been meant as a mockery instantly turned into a moment of shame. The weight of hundreds of eyes bore down on him as the crowd erupted, not with laughter this time, but with murmurs of anger and disgust. Disrespectful, unbelievable. He crossed the line. The guard, unwavering, did not break character. He simply resumed his stance, chest lifted, eyes fixed, as if the entire confrontation had been nothing but a brief disturbance in his endless duty. But for the man, the reality sank in. He hadn't embarrassed the soldier, he had embarrassed himself. Police quickly emerged from the sidelines, their presence quiet but firm. They guided the man away as phones captured every second of his retreat. What began as arrogance had ended in humiliation, his actions now immortalized by the lenses of dozens of strangers. As order returned, the air shifted. The crowd, once buzzing with discomfort, now carried an energy of awe. Parents whispered to their children about respect, about honor, about the strength it takes not to lash out, but to stand tall in the face of provocation. And in that silence between boots and voices, everyone realized something. The true power of the Queen's Guard wasn't in aggression, but in restraint. In that moment, centuries of tradition stood taller than one man's foolishness. And that day, outside Buckingham Palace, the world witnessed the unshakable line between honor and disrespect, reminded forever that pushing a guard may shake his body, but it will never break his duty.